7:03. Alright, so let's go over just a few things.
From last time, I thought we straightened out some of that, huh?
Yeah,
The block is being held because,
the block is being held because we want to put the tree in first. But now we are most likely going to have to wait on the tree because we've already had our first frost. So what'll happen is if we plant the tree now, the chances of it surviving through the winter are not good. So I do have a contact that is looking for a tree that will top out between 17 and 20 feet tall. Start out at maybe 13 feet. So, but they suggested that we put the tree in first and then do the pavers or the block.
because according
After
to
that.
how big they're going to have to dig the hole to put
Right,
it in.
because they're gonna have to dig a hole pretty big to get the bulb in for this tree, and it's gonna affect the block. So we don't wanna get the block put in, cement it, and silicone it together so that it stays, and then we're going to have to figure out our way around it. So, hey, come on up.
Now what, anything with the roots of the tree affecting the blocks at all, or that's?
No.
Yeah, so what I told Danielle is that the money is there for it to set it
Right.
aside, and because of the timing on getting that put in, we just decided probably a better thing for in the spring, and at least get a permanent tree, put the tree in, and then do the paver part, because
Yeah.
This is at,
Yes.
yeah, we were
yes.
just going over some of the things from last month. We were trying to push to get the pavers, and then it was trying to get the tree. And then Danielle was talking with the Matthiases, right, about
Yeah.
the trees also, even like one like we did last year, we put in a stand for now. And they
I
were
still have feelers out, and I called, someone is supposed to be getting back to me this week
all right.
about a permanent tree, which could still be planted.
Really? That's what we
It
were
can
wondering.
still be
It
planted,
can
because
still be
I've
planted, as long
gotten,
as you've got water there.
I've gotten mixed reviews because we've had our first frost.
You could still plant a tree,
Okay,
because next week it's supposed to be warmer again.
okay,
You could still plant a tree at this point.
okay.
The ground is not frozen,
No.
it's still warm, so you could still get away with trees
Oh,
once
that's
you have
awesome.
water there. So I'm trying to see if we can get something. If not, it may have to wait till the spring. I just want it to be the right tree.
Right,
Right.
If you're gonna put a tree in, make sure you put the right tree in the right spot.
Right, exactly. That's why we didn't want to push that, and it was kind of like, okay, we can put the pavers in, and it's going to give it edge. And right now, it's been staying pretty okay, because we go down and keep all the mulching where it's supposed to be, and do just cleanups here and there with it. And it just got to a point, it was like the paver the tree, paver the tree. And why put in something that may get damaged, according to how big they have to dig the hole
Right.
in order to put the ball in. So we thought, it's pushing it, and we're getting close to holidays, so the more we thought about it, maybe we could hold off. And if it gets where we can't get that tree put in, then don't push it. We'll definitely plant it in the spring, have a better time frame for it, because now the big part's already cleaned up, and that was a big job
Right.
doing that this year. And then do the nice papers, you know, so.
And
it
looks
just-
good for fall, you did a nice job.
Thank you.
Thanks, yeah. So like I said, well, there's
Yeah.
not that much. The other things, if I could cut in here, I'd have to ask you about, when it comes to the things that are there now, you might want to give us an idea of like if something should be cut back. I went down, and anything on like the rose bushes, I do like mine, I just clipped off some little dead pieces, but they're blooming because it's warm. So I was still watering them, and the mums, of course, came up. Even if they're temporary this year, they look pretty for color. But even the daylilies, Danielle went down and pulled out all the dead stuff each
Yeah.
time we went down, and they're still nice and green. So I said, looks nice, why take it out just yet? So is there any point that we cut them down, we let them completely die off and then cut them down?
Yeah, you let them die off. They have to completely brown out. The daylilies have to completely brown out.
Okay.
And same thing is going to happen with the blue perennials. And then there's also there's a blue salvia that's a perennial blue salvia down there, It has a rougher textured leaf, a little bit darker greener leaf. That, same thing, it has to brown out,
Okay.
and then you cut it right to the ground. You leave the green little, it probably will have basil green leaves right by the soil surface,
Yeah, I
you
saw
leave that.
Yeah.
But the annual salvia, blue salvia that's down there that I planted has perennial tendencies. So
Oh.
that may come back for several years. If it's in a happy place, it will do that, even though it's an annual. So same thing, you let it die back. Don't pull it out by the roots,
Right.
just clip it
I
down.
clipped it, yeah.
And if there's any green at the base, leave that green intact. Don't
Okay.
cut
So
that.
once everything dies off, we should go down there and clip everything.
Right,
just
you
low.
let it die naturally, you do not.
Okay.
Now, do we, some of my things at home that died off, I just put like some of the mulching over top of the area, I just pull it over and tuck it in. Do we do that? Do we need to add any mulching to protect that? or-
I'll have to go down and take a look. Usually it's good to add a little bit of mulch in the fall, but that was put in pretty thickly. I
Yeah.
have a feeling that this year you don't need any, maybe next year you will.
Yeah,
Okay.
But
later,
I doubt you probably need any this year.
Yeah,
Now, the new cherry tree, should we wrap that for the winter? Because you know, like sometimes you see where they have the green wrap around it.
that's
Okay.
okay, way it is, okay.
That should be okay? Okay.
Yeah, and like I said, and then I have at my house a rose tree. So
Mhm.
that's almost like that ball thing, and it can get out of shape, so I always flip that back to keep that shape. And that's basically the only thing I did with those roses down there. Anything that was like,
Right,
Dead,
and that's
I
all you
just-
need to do.
and I thought that's as far as we go with that, right? Any
Right.
dead stuff.
And the
to
same
shake
thing with
it
the
up.
hostas too. I know the hostas that I have at home, I let them completely
Yeah.
die off and then I pull everything
Right,
out.
and
And
that's
then
all
Yeah, I just cut them low.
they keep coming back bigger and
Yeah.
bigger and bigger.
Right.
Yeah, and some were ready died off, but there are a few that still are green because of the warmth. So I thought, right now, what we're doing is any leaves that get in, we just keep pulling
Right.
them
Yeah.
out. So that needs
Right.
probably a little bit of that just now. And, but that's where we were from the last time when we discussed
Yeah.
about what we're gonna do with that, because we were pushing, trying to get those pavers, and it was a balance between the tree and
Yeah.
that, so we
And
thought we
then-
were pushing it.
And I apologize because of
No,
family
no,
circumstances.
That's fine.
Quite all right.
I've been able to do.
The Matthiases, their son-in-law has a tree farm.
Mhm.
So I was speaking with them on trees. So he had, the night of the high school homecoming, he had come in and he looked at the area and everything like that. So I also let him know what it was that we were looking for. I couldn't remember off the top of my head the name of the tree that you had specifically said would look fine down there. But I gave him a general idea, it would be
How tall
like
would it have to be?
you know, like a holiday tree, so that every year we could decorate. I told him top it off at, you know, like 20 feet, we didn't want it any bigger. So he's also looking,
Okay.
Everybody. with the
Yeah.
tree.
yeah, and I didn't wanna bother you, so I had,
But-
That's fine. Well, between the two of us, we should be able to find some
Yeah,
place.
between now and spring. And the
Yeah.
other thing then is just getting one like we did last year, which I think they were gonna find us one for that, right?
Yes.
Like we did
if,
last year.
if we're not able to get one planted this year, then we know we have enough time for spring to get one planted.
Mhm.
So then they can still keep looking, but
We have all the stuff from last year, the
Yeah.
stand and all that. and
yeah,
The ties to anchor it down, so.
Yeah.
It's actually in a better shape because it's more level up there with all the new mulching and
Right.
dirt, so it's gonna give a nice platform if we go that way anyway.
Right.
but the Matthiases for the holiday tree, want to pay for the holiday tree.
That was very generous. very
They,
nice.
That's very
um,
generous.
They've approached us, Debbie and myself, and they want to pay for it.
Awesome.
So,
Very nice.
because he had his trees, his area that he had at his mother's house on Bridge Street for, I believe it was 56 years. So they still want to continue the tradition of
Very nice.
Very sweet.
providing
Very
Very
sweet.
the tree. So they would like to put the holiday tree at the center of town. So whether they're able to purchase it where we are planting it, or if we're just going to drive it in like we did
Okay.
last year and place it, they have offered to pay for the tree.
Wonderful, that's very generous. And,
So-
and this year it'll be nice, it'll be a little bit more centered on the curve of the arch kind of
Right.
thing, which will be nice.
Yeah.
Are we still going to take a look at putting in red twig dogwoods and?
I would like to,
And the
yeah.
small, red sprite.
To fill in
winterberries.
that,
To fill in behind the
Yeah,
rose bushes
right,
and
right.
in between the rose bushes, because that'll give that winter interest, so,
Right. because they look beautiful at the dog park.
yeah. I
They
mean, that's
really
what's,
do.
and I have them at the library too, they're
Mhm.
at the library by the lower section, so.
We just figured because of trying to, the paper was a big thing because it
Yeah.
had to be digging and all that, so it was kind of like it worked out okay this year because there was still enough color and everything, it was so pretty
Right.
with the rose bushes coming back the way they
The
did. and
rose
the
bushes
daylilies.
look
Yeah, they did amazing,
Yeah.
even the new ones were,
Mhm.
even the one that actually got hit by a branch when they're taking the trees down came back, it's pretty good size. And next year they should be pretty
Even better,
even.
yeah.
And we said the same thing, once that area is paved too, it'll give a nice little area to know exactly where you put the extra
Yeah.
plantings to make that fill in, which would be beautiful,
Right,
you know, so it'll get there, it's just,
It
it's a
will.
big project
yeah,
Yeah.
it will get there,
get to that
and
point.
it'll be nice, because it's the center of town and it should look nice there.
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, everybody loves it, they really do, so it's worked out
Yeah,
really
sometimes when
well.
Debbie and I are there, we get a little honk from people.
Yeah, we're hoping it's because they like it.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah.
If you're gonna.
Even the owners of the shopping center have complimented how nice the plantings look and how nice the plaza really looks.
Yeah, we actually go down and pick up the trash when we're down there too, we're those little trash people, so we figured we're there.
Right.
So, and a lot of stuff, just, it was so windy even last week, it was just blowing over
Oh,
there from
yeah.
wherever it was at, so.
I did approach the owners of the whole strip. They had informed me that they have a street sweeper come out every 2 days, and they clean the parking lot, and they also power wash, like the sidewalks and things like that.
Is that a recent thing, or is that something they've been doing?
They told me recently this is what they've started doing.
Good.
Because I approached them about the garbage that collects.
It helps.
And I do see 7-Eleven out there in the mornings, in the afternoons, and in the evening. They're out there sweeping and
Good.
taking out the garbage and stuff. So,
Well, maybe they see us there all the time.
yeah.
It's like, maybe they'd want to join in, which would be great, take a.
Stuff can be contagious.
Yeah, exactly,
Yeah,
we'll
so-
run and do it, everybody else jump in there and
Right.
help out a little.
Yeah.
Very
So
good.
he did inform me that, every 2 days, he has a street sweeper that comes out
Good.
and does the whole parking lot.
Mhm.
So unfortunately, you have those times in between where we're at in the plaza, no one, from the surrounding stores go and clean up. They clean up, where their stores are.
Right,
So Debbie and I go down and,
Yeah, we're already there, we'll just
Yeah.
run around, pick up what
We
we can,
can
while
just
we're all
clean
sitting
up.
there.
I'm well familiar with that,
Yeah.
the library and the
Yeah.
dog park.
Yeah.
yeah,
It's just the thing you automatically do,
Right.
it just,
Yeah.
it's there. What was I gonna say? I was gonna mention to Danielle, the roping on the wall, I don't know if, you probably loved it too. The real one actually lasted very long last year, I was surprised, and it looked really nice. So I personally would like to do that again instead of getting an artificial one,
I
so.
think so too.
I like the real,
And I
The
think
real
that
garnet.
looks beautiful in the red bows, simple, elegant,
Yeah.
just perfect.
and
I
we
would like
have
to
all
do
of
a
that.
little more lights.
Well, now that we have actually the bushes come back, Daniel and I both said we could actually run them on that, run them through there, so the actual, where the tree's gonna be, and the base of all those little rose bushes could be lit up
Mhm.
with twinkle lights. And then the trunk of the new tree, we could probably bring it up there, just to give a little bit of light around where the big tree's gonna be, because we didn't have those last year, they were cut to
Right.
the ground, so it was
Right.
very barren, where
Right.
this would be a nice little background.
Right.
So we'd like to add more.
Yeah, let's get a few more.
Want to
few
see it
more
from,
lights.
from outer space. We
Few
want to
more
see the
lights.
area from outer space. Yes.
If you're gonna try to have the tree, because you said it can still be, what's the time frame? Like, what would it have to be in by?
Well, it's all weather dependent, but I mean, you can plant trees, certain ones, certainly bald and burlap, you usually can plant through into November.
I was just curious, because I know we do want to do the decorating. I was just curious
Yeah.
what the time frame would be for that.
Yeah, no, I would
meaning
definitely
Get the
try.
tree to actually do the decorating.
So
And
the
then-
tree is called a balding burlap?
A bald and that's just how the base
How the base
is.
is, yeah.
Okay,
Bald and burlapped means that they cut the root ball and then they cover it with
Okay.
burlap.
all right.
That's usually done for larger trees. When they're container grown in a container, those are typically smaller trees. But I think it's, we'll see, because you could definitely plant into November here, so.
Okay. So I will call and
Yeah,
let them know
yeah, I'll
that if we
see.
can find one.
Yeah, I'll see what comes back, because I was hoping to have an answer for this meeting, and I don't. I apologize for that, but
Okay.
I'm hoping in the
Yeah.
next few
We'll get it
days.
figured out.
So,
Like I said, if we can't,
Yeah.
get it in by November, then we can shoot for spring.
Right.
And then this way, we know if we have any issues with the tree, that we can address them and, make sure that the tree would be okay.
Yeah.
Now, if the family is doing donations, is there going to be any kind of acknowledgement of it?
Yes, I would like to figure something out. Have them, have them,
Well, especially if they're doing it in honor of,
Yeah.
yeah.
being in the town.
I know they want to be there when the tree comes in
Mm.
to the area. So, I believe all their children are pitching in
Very
on
nice.
the tree also.
That's nice.
Yeah,
Mhm.
so,
Maybe when they come down to do that, hopefully we want to take a picture with them too,
yeah,
with the tree.
yeah,
We're bringing it in.
yeah. So,
We were thinking about, I think last year we did it the weekend of Thanksgiving. I think it was pretty clear, a little crisp, but that was the weekend.
well,
We're
we
gonna
have,
shoot
do we
for
want to
that.
do it the weekend before Thanksgiving, which is the 22nd and 23rd, or the weekend after Thanksgiving, which is the 29th and the 30th?
I would go for the week after, I would think, yeah.
Thanksgiving is the
I'll make sure I'm thinking November, not December again. Yeah, Thanksgiving is the 24th.
Wrong one.
Sorry,
That's what
wrong
I'm going to
month.
make sure.
Sorry,
because you said.
The 26th and 27th.
Is a Saturday,
Okay,
Sunday.
that's.
Sorry, I
looking
I
here.
thought my calendar said
All right.
November.
That's Saturday and Sunday? Or what is that? What day is that?
What's a good day for is Saturday a better day for everyone, or is Sunday a better day for everyone? Is football still happening on Sundays?
You were saying the weekend before, the weekend
We're
after?
We got our 26th and
Thanksgiving's the
27th.
24th.
Right, okay. Well, if it's Sunday, I won't be doing it because that's my birthday.
Oh, okay. We got that.
Yeah,
Because that's
Okay.
why when you were saying the holiday, because I'm like, no, my birthday, Thanksgiving usually falls on my birthday every few weeks.
yes,
you know,
my
every
calendar switched
year,
back
so
to October,
I'm like,
sorry.
Like, doesn't make sense right now.
All right, so do we want to shoot for November
And
26th?
Thursday, oh. The 26th, we're gonna shoot for, that's a Saturday.
This way, it will be done for the parade,
Right,
because the parade is the 3rd.
okay.
Yeah, that's kinda nice, because they come right from there.
Right.
Yeah, so that's great.
So then the plaza can be done
So,
for the 26th. So I can put something together now,
pick up a flyer.
a flyer, yeah, and we can post it on the beautification page
Yeah.
and get that out there and everybody can share it. So the more, the more the merrier at this point,
Yeah, and we have the stuff that's actually divided up, at everybody's house, so,
Yeah,
Mike and
I
Michelle
think
have
Mike and
the
Michelle, you
We
stand.
have the stand and the lights, and we think, we
you
have
have the
stakes too.
rods.
We have the stakes also, the big metal rods for the tree.
The tethers for the tree.
Do we still have those?
Yes,
the
yes, the
rebar?
wrought iron rebar, yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we have those.
And I have
It's in the
all
shed.
the bows and then some, so if we need action, we've got the bows. And we have the big one that Georgia made with the red and the white, was real
Right.
pretty. I have that.
And then we just need the garland, which we're gonna do fresh garland.
Yeah, let's make a note of that. Do you wanna see if Matthias can get that and I'll pay them to get that? Or if we go to another farm and get it, doesn't matter. I imagine all the farms also sell it too, so it's up to them if they
We
want.
gotta, how much garland are we gonna or,
Didn't we get like 100?
I thought you had
We should measure it.
2 rolls? and-
We had
and-
two.
Something like that.
yeah,
So
because
250
we
for
did
100
it from the end
Right,
to the other end.
yeah. Yeah, including the little outdoor
Yeah.
thing, right?
Yeah, we did
went
all
around.
of that,
Okay, so it was 250, so 100 feet.
100 feet.
I mean, I can actually go, even the place up where Wilson's used to be, they'd probably bring it in, or, I actually go over to Timothy's in, Jersey for a lot of my stuff. And I imagine if I put on order, he would bring it in also. So you want me to just do that, and they can bring
Yeah.
out the tree?
Yeah.
All right, I'll do
Just to
that.
catch everybody up, we can still plant a tree, we just have to find the tree. If we cannot find it
You need
in
to find a
time.
grower or?
from a grower, yes.
If we look for a
if-
certain type of
We're looking
tree.
for a certain type, we want it to top out at 20 feet. We don't want it to get too much higher than that.
What species are you looking for? Or-
There are some intermediate spruces that reach about 20 to 25 feet.
How high is a blue spruce top? I know it's the most expensive.
Blue spruces top out standards at 60 to 70 feet.
Okay.
Oh.
What about like a white spruce?
There's still going to be
Okay.
50, 60.
'Cause I mean, I can poke around on some internet searches in the area.
Now, I have some people who are in the field
Oh, okay.
who are looking, who work with a lot of different growers, so.
Spruces are hardy too, they'll last.
Yeah, there were spruces down there originally.
Mhm. We got disease.
As with any tree, the first 3 years you have to water every week.
Right.
That's just the way it
Which is what Debbie and I have been doing anyway.
Right.
So
So that's-
we asked the borough, please do not turn off the
Right.
water until
Yeah,
we let you know.
Right.
yeah.
Don't turn off the water,
Right.
because we're still, we still have the mums and,
Can you ask the same thing for the dog park?
Sure.
Because, for the same reason?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because last year they turned off the water when they turned off down at the Williamson Park Fields. And we had one night of cold, and then the next few weeks were warm, and
Right.
people.
right, and
didn't
that's
have
what I
water
think we're
for the
getting
dogs.
into now, again this year, where we have, it's really cold, but next week it's supposed to be really warm.
Right,
And
Stuff
we're
needs
still,
water.
right, and it wouldn't be, 1 or 2 nights is not gonna
Freeze
Right.
it.
freeze it.
So-
I mean, even when we had all that rain, Debbie and I wound up having to go back like the next day because
With the mums.
it was dry.
It was still dry,
Right.
underneath the
dry.
ground where we put the mums.
We actually have not had significant
Right.
rain.
Right,
We really haven't. It may have been cloudy and drizzly and periods of rain, but we have not, this entire summer, had
Yeah.
summer into fall, had a really significant rainfall in this area, and we're below water levels.
Yeah,
Just take a look at the
we
river.
literally, when we dug the holes for the mums, it was dry.
Yeah.
And so we watered in the hole itself, then we
Yeah.
put the plant in and then watered again, and they did come up really nice,
Right.
but
It's
we were
best to use
surprised it was that.
Yeah.
we
That's
couldn't
right.
believe
Still.
how dry
Mhm.
it was when we dug down. We figured it would be damp.
Yeah.
It wasn't
Where
even
the
damp.
mulch is real thick on the top, if you dig down in that, it's a little more moist up there, it holds a
Right.
little bit better, especially on the tree that was
Right.
put in, it's pretty hardy up there, but down on the sides where it would run off, if you're in water's gonna run off also, so, yeah,
Right.
it was very dry, I was surprised.
Yeah, So we're still watering down there
Right.
because we don't
It
want the
needs it.
mums to die off.
Right.
All right,
it
so
needs
we'll
it.
tell, I'll make it,
All right.
so I'll see you that.
I already did.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
Also.
so we need the 100 feet of garland and more lights.
Okay, I got that. Cause I have a lot of.
Or lights for that, for both?
Well, I already have them for what we had last year, and I still had, I think, 2 extra boxes, so because we're gonna do the rose bushes, they're pretty inexpensive. So I think Lowe's was carrying them last year, those twinkle ones, so I'll just go pick up some extra of those. And, yeah, so I'll take care of that.
This year,
so
we're
we
gonna,
have-
because the rose bushes came back so beautifully, we're actually gonna run lights through the rose bushes
That'll be pretty.
so that it'll light up the whole area now that it has its defined
Yeah.
Have you
space.
checked into the net lighting? Instead of weaving them in and out, they come in a grid.
Mhm.
That's
And then you just flip them
Right.
over there and flip them to the
That's a
next
good
one.
idea.
It's so much easier than individually
Yeah.
weaving those in, especially in a sticker bush.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think that's a good point.
Checking in some, they have all kinds of different, like long skinny ones, totally square ones.
Okay, let me look and see.
Might be something to look into.
Okay,
I
Thank
agree
you.
with the the,
Yeah.
The netting.
Was fast.
the thorns.
Okay.
And the lights on the tree, that's that tube lighting.
Yes.
Different than
It's
the
not
rest
enough
of them.
lighting.
It's
Not
not,
You will not be able to see it from Jupiter, so I know we need more lights.
Just like a
Can-
sound system, you gotta
can you
hear it
get
on
more of
Jupiter.
those? Can you get more of that type?
Yeah, but I think we want brighter ones as well, or do we want to color, this time? We want to throw a little color in the lights.
To mix in with that?
You could alternate them.
It's
Mhm.
up to you guys. Tell me what you want to do, we'll do it.
You could do
My
it
tree
red,
at
white, and
home is
blue.
color lights because my kids for some reason love color lights. I just think it makes the tree. That's just my personal opinion.
I think
It's,
because
you
you have
know,
the
it's up
bright
to
red
everybody.
bows, I would probably just do clear. You know, because you're gonna have all the
I
red
think the
colors.
white lights looked really classic and really
It
nice
does, yeah.
last year.
It's
did.
one thing for your house, it's another thing for the center of town.
That's the thing.
Yeah.
I think that, I like color lights personally, but it may turn into something that's a little too busy.
Yeah, I would keep it just clear,
Yep.
and then the red bows.
So do we want a variation of brightness? Or do we want the same
Can
exact
you get
ones?
brighter lights?
A couple strings of just like the classic,
Were they LEDs that were inside those tubes?
Those are
Yes.
LEDs,
They were.
right?
Were they?
Mhm.
Yeah. I guess because they were inside the tube?
Yep.
Pretty nice lights.
and they're
though.
commercial grade, so they're good, they'll last for a very long time, but we could throw a couple strings of another kind of white light in there, maybe like the ball ones,
Yeah, oh,
small
yeah.
ball
I
white
know what you're
lights,
saying, yeah, yeah,
couple
you could.
strings of those.
Mm-hmm,
That'll brighten it up some.
yeah, you could do that.
We can see how it looks.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm, you could add that.
Yeah, I mean, that's an easy grab.
Mm-hmm. Okay, cool.
Okay, do you need any help with the library once things start to die off? Do you need any help
No,
with
because
that?
the library, and this is something I have to bring up a couple points here. As a bird town, we have to start thinking and setting examples that are more nature and bird friendly. And so for the library, because that's a certified spot, maybe not for the center of town because it's not certified, but the library is a certified habitat because it's mostly native now. And the thing to do is to leave the stems.
Okay,
And that's what I do, is I leave them into spring and do a cleanup in the spring, not a fall cleanup.
okay.
Let the leaves come in on the beds because it's much more natural. It causes there to be habitat. It actually causes little microclimates where insects and different things can be doing what they're supposed to be doing for the soil and for breaking down plant material, and pupas live and things like that. Because if we're clearing out, and this is even for our home gardens, if we clear out every time, we're actually decimating huge areas of insects
So then we
populations.
just leave it there.
So I just leave it.
Okay.
So, and that's, I think that's important to start thinking in those terms. The other thing along this line is, I've looked at the new borough website. I can't find the Audubon Birdtown newsletter that gets sent to us, which I forward to Virginia every month. It comes all printed, put together by Audubon, and it gives information for all kinds of activities for not only our area, but any other bird town in our vicinity that's doing something. We've had articles in it from here. Elizabeth GL was featured, I was featured with a story, so
Just not getting to.
it's
the
not,
Okay.
there, it looks like, when I went on there, that they took a piece of information from the newsletter and reprinted it on there, but this newsletter comes with photographs, it comes with a whole calendar of events and all this kind of stuff, and I'm not finding it.
I know Subi said that there were things about it that they were gonna have to tweak, so that's probably one of them. There's
Okay.
probably a lot of stuff that's not getting put back where it should be, because
Okay.
it was up there before, so,
I already have it marked down.
all right.
I will call
tell
him
him about
tomorrow.
that.
Because that's
Find out where
important,
it went.
being a bird town, to continue that. And it's what all the other bird towns do, so that just it makes a connectiveness with us and other bird towns, so I think that's
Now,
important.
can we have the plaza area certified?
That's you would have to change some practices of gardening,
Okay.
in that you would have to leave leaves and leave cleanup till spring. Because that's basically Certification means that you have to follow practices that are friendly to wildlife, to birds, primarily birds. And that means leaving it for insects and things like that. So it could get to that point if we put in enough of the proper plant material, like the winter berries that are supposed to go in there, and the redwood dogwoods, and the salvia that's down there is certainly included. The hostas can be included because bees and pollinators use them, and even the cherry trees are used by pollinators and birds. So, so it is something down the road you could do, but you
But it
really.
would have to be 100% of native in order to do that?
It doesn't have to be 100% native, it has to be predominantly native, but you also have to follow the proper gardening practices that allow for wildlife. So,
See, we go down and we clean out the, you know, because we want to,
It's in the
not
center.
saying that
yeah.
another spot doesn't look nice, but we don't want to leave the brown.
I
Right.
think the problem is because the strip mall and 7-Eleven specifically provides so much garbage in that area, leaving it until spring would probably make it
promote
look
more problems.
awful.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't
And that, I think that's probably the limitation there. I think it's a great idea. But I think the amount of garbage that corner ends up with
Right.
is the limitation.
See, ideally, if that strip center were rearranged to a different position, so that that pond and that whole area
Municipality.
became a town square,
Yeah, we're gonna give it to,
then,
we're gonna give it to fall,
then I
like the
think
rest of the business.
you could you know, you could
Yeah.
plant it properly and certify it. But,
Yeah.
if I win the lottery, that would be one of the things
Yeah,
I'd
Right.
I think how about we don't do that just yet then?
No.
Yeah.
But I think you look to other areas, like the dog park,
Mhm.
we'll look to get that certified eventually. And we look to other areas in town that don't have to
The
be
Fourth
quite
Ward
as
pit?
formal.
Mhm.
Because I think the library suits a certified garden as well from the standpoint of,
The pit.
it's a teaching tool. It's a place where people can come to see a building landscaped with a certified garden, and
It fits the building.
it fits the
Aesthetics
building.
too.
Yeah, and I think it also, the teaching moment that you have with it, it allows people to just passively come and learn
Mhm.
about
It's actually
gardening.
not a bad idea, Mike.
I got a great idea. I've been talking about it for a couple of years now.
What?
The Fourth Ward
The
pit,
Fourth Ward pit.
Oh,
the drainage. I've actually spoken
Oh, that
to
thing
all of you about it
glows
at some
on
point.
Google
yeah.
Earth, that
Well, the
glows green.
firehouse is doing theirs.
Yeah.
Mhm,
That's
I mean,
that's
they're
a
slowly
really good
working at
idea.
that.
mhm.
And
You have
also
the
check with,
center of that pit, it collects that water, so it's,
I told you
Oh,
Fearless
it's a
rain
Waste
garden.
did that.
it should be a rain garden.
It would keep them from having to turn around and mow it. And sometimes they come out twice a week because it grows so fast because it's a water
Right.
basin. So it would really alleviate them from having to come out and do anything other than just the perimeter. Keep the
Right.
perimeter grass and the rest, tear it up.
You can
wonder how
help
much-
organize that one
Mhm.
up there.
I wonder how
about that?
much that would
Yeah, I was
take
looking
to
into
do.
water basin gardens at one point, or whatever they call them. I mean,
Retention
there's-
basin
yeah,
gardens and
retention
water.
basins. There's just so many options out there, and they're all really nice, and, I mean, with like everything else, there's gonna be some things you have to do to it, but you certainly don't have to be in there mowing it 3 hours a week every
We'll
week.
cut down maintenance, yeah, plus look nice. Plus be a habitat, the same.
Mhm.
Right,
aspect.
I mean, because you could install some of the student birdhouses,
Mhm.
student-built birdhouses,
Yeah.
things like
That'd be
that.
nice.
Maybe even some bat houses,
Oh,
because
Kelly
that
Earl would love us for it.
area
That would take care of the
Gets
insects.
the
It's right next to her
mosquitoes.
house.
Well, the bat houses have to be, what, 20 feet up though?
Right,
Because I have mine all the way at the peak of my roof.
right. Actually, it can go a little bit lower because I would say 15 to 30, somewhere in there. is
that could be a
ideal.
really cool project to, after the holidays, organize to do that for spring, one of the areas it could get done.
It
And
could be,
ask residents for donations of native plant material because everyone's splitting up perennials in the spring.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
it could be really cool. I mean, the sky's the limit. It's such a big plot of land.
Yes.
You know, so.
But
the
we
Girl
wouldn't have
Scout
to do
project.
the
Oh, I didn't
entire
realize
thing
No.
to start off this
No,
year,
you can do
maybe
it
even
in
a
sections.
smaller section to
Yep.
start off in the spring,
Deep in and work your
and
way
then
out.
even, you know,
Yeah.
Right.
see if we
Long-term
can get
project.
the residents
Put some
that
reeds and
live
stuff down
by.
in the middle.
Well, Michelle had a great idea Scouts
Mhm.
would also be part of, they'd
Especially
love
if
to
you're
do
getting
that.
somebody who's going for that Eagle Scout, or what did you call the?
The Gold Award.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Girl
They,
Scouts have
yeah,
the
they
Gold
need to
Award.
take, a
I
whole
actually had
project.
one of the troop leaders reached out to me,
So that
do you
might be
have any
something.
projects for
There's a
our
perfect
troop?
project.
Yeah. that
And
would be
at the
great.
time, we didn't have anything.
We have now.
But
Yes.
doing a rain garden at the pit
Mhm.
for the spring
I think it's a great idea.
Can you name it right after that?
could be a great idea.
Yeah, rename it, yeah.
Yeah, well, and then you certify it, and you could also enter it as a garden in the PHS gardening,
Tour.
and gardening contest, and there are lots of things. There's also, there are also other,
And we can stop calling it the pit.
right.
Well, we might even know.
If the kids could think of a new name.
Because I know the fourth ward really
We don't
doesn't
have any
have-
opportunities, yeah.
doesn't have much,
Pretty built in.
And
Mhm.
if
It's all
anything at
housing.
all,
Yeah,
for,
the only
a
open
garden
space.
area. At least, the second ward, we have the library. The third ward, the firehouse is doing, their thing, plus all the residents in the third ward that have, those beautiful gardens, and the residents in all the other wards that have those gardens, but there's nothing,
an
down
area.
here, we have the plaza, and the first ward has the dog park. There's
Mhm.
really nothing for the fourth ward.
I just know that maintenance-wise, it's been back and forth, and we've really cut down a lot of that for the guys to be in there, at the same time make it look really nice.
Yeah.
You really need area.
I think it could look really good.
I mean, they've actually, I have to say, they've done a very good job this year
Mhm.
keeping up on,
Yeah.
Yeah.
on our area.
Mhm.
So I have to definitely give props for that, but it would cut down, like you're
Yeah.
saying, to not have to do that whole spot in there, because it is a huge area.
Yeah,
And the drainage there as it is now, it collects the water, but the drainage that they have through there is not great. I mean, that really needs to be dug up, so something like this could then
Yeah.
bring in that area.
He said.
yeah, I think that's a great idea, I really do.
I do too.
Okay.
All right, that's our next thing for spring,
Yeah,
after we
I-
finish the plaza.
I'll bring up something I suggested to Danielle, and hopefully everybody feels this way. With the holidays coming up, we thought that this would be our last official meeting, that we could get this organized for the Christmas thing. And everybody's busy with the holidays, and they're running around, and you're pretty much in that, getting into that winter mode thing. So we thought it'd be best if we didn't have November and December, because this is our first year really organizing these meetings as to when and how many you do need and stuff like that. So we did put them every month to see how we would go with it and
So far, they've
develop
been
projects.
very good,
Yeah,
you know.
but we thought for everybody, it might be easier to just make the Christmas thing are done, and then the only other thing would be to clean back up in January. We're gonna take the stuff down after New Year's, which I think we just, at the time, we put up the flyer, say cleanup will be also this date, so everybody
Yeah.
knew. And then in January, it'd be a new, fresh, the third weekend of January, we can get together, and then we'll have more information during the winter months. We can organize some of these things, and then get together for the projects, so that we'll know where we're focused on going
So
in
this
the
way we can
springtime.
focus on when we're gonna, put the block in at the plaza, and,
And if the tree, the time
if
needs to
we
come
can
in.
get the fourth ward rain garden going, when we can start that, so this way the plaza will be finished, and then we can move on to doing that as well.
I'd like to go ahead, if it's all right, and reapply for that grant along the
Yes.
canal.
Yes,
Yes.
we already told Mr. Subi that,
Okay.
we were gonna
And
reapply
that,
for that.
I would need to do that, and I would fill it out on behalf of this
Right.
committee, kind of
Right.
thing, so.
Right,
The other thing someone brought up to me, and I thought may not be a bad idea, what about putting some, talking to the park about putting some kind of small planting area on the bridge as you come over to the canal side, down by the library? Just on the corner, just
By
right
the Red
at,
Bridge?
at the footbridge, right, when you come across,
I
when you
know
go
what you're
down
talking
on
about.
Palmer, and you
Yeah.
cross over the canal?
Oh, okay, yeah, yeah, I know
On
what you're
Maple.
Right,
Maple?
okay.
No,
Is that what you're talking about?
Palmer,
That's Palmer.
Palmer.
Wait, I'm in the
Palmer
wrong
Street.
spot.
Palmer's the
The
street.
Red Bridge,
It's
The
on
Red
Palmer
Bridge is
Street.
on Palmer.
yeah,
Yeah.
okay.
I'm on
Just
the wrong bridge.
Yeah.
It's the footbridge.
Yeah.
Yeah, the footbridge that was painted purple.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yes.
Okay. Someone had said, what about putting just a small little, like, semicircle or quarter circle, just on either side after you come off of it, right at the,
Not a bad idea.
just to add a little punch of color and to make it,
Very
you
nice.
know.
Okay,
So I thought, well, that's something to think about.
okay.
And do it with natives, so it doesn't have to be anything,
What would be, because you have the shade on the one side from the trees, is the shade on the other side the same, or is that different?
It doesn't, it gets a mix of sun and shade there, and there are beautiful natives that we could do, and very small, I'm talking very small.
Yeah, just enhance it right
Just to
there.
enhance it as a, because it's a footbridge that gets a lot of use.
It does.
And it just would add a little color and a little bit of texture right there, and I think,
What would you suggest to put there?
honestly, I haven't thought it out well, but
Okay.
that's something over November, December, and
Yeah.
beginning of January, that I put something
Okay.
together so it'd be ready for January.
Okay.
So, and I already have the plan, what I'm planning on submitting for the bathrooms up in the other section is the same plan that was put together previously.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
that was the
that
only
doesn't
glitch was it
change.
had to go through this committee as part of the borough, because we're a subcommittee of the
Right.
council.
Right, so I'll resubmit
has
it
to
to
go.
you guys, and
Right.
then we'll go from there, but
Yeah.
it's basically the same plan.
Okay.
That's what I'm looking to do.
So that'd be great, because if they give that money, it'd be great to put plants down there.
Right.
They really
Yeah.
use it,
Right, and
Okay.
it's just, I think the biggest thing is to work with the Public Works Department to make sure that proper training is there for how to prune or not prune and just leave,
Mhm.
because if we maintain, but I think the biggest thing is,
They don't- not to cut it back where they
right,
should.
not to cut it back where it shouldn't be cut,
Okay.
so.
All right.
And that actually, I had a question earlier, and it falls in line with that now, because you're talking about how right now Robert Morris wanted to get kind of a clean cut. And if we left it native, like said they list up there, people might not understand why it's not being cleaned up.
Right.
So you're saying about training for the borough workers for those kinds of things, but like with this newsletter, if it does get put on borough website, that kind of stuff, will that give like explanation to people that if we start doing that in areas where we're not cleaning up,
It does have.
if there's a reason for that?
Yes, it does have information, at least in, if not every issue that speaks to that, every other.
Mm.
It announces upcoming events or events that have happened and things like that. But it also gives us an educational piece to it. That's why it's an important tool
Right.
that Audubon asks every bird town to incorporate into their website or TV or whatever to make sure that information gets out. As well as, I try to stock things both here and at the library that speak to that. Handouts from Extension and Audubon that also speak to that.
On like the bulletin board, you mean in the lobby area?
In the lobby area downstairs, we have the pamphlet holder,
Mhm.
and I try to keep pamphlets in there or bring new
Okay.
pamphlets in there from both Audubon and Penn State Extension.
Is that something that we can put inside the kiosks? Or no?
You
If they
could
wanted.
if you wanted to, but I mean, there are handouts there that are available for anyone to take, and they're both here and at the library. I get them approved, I bring them down from Extension or
I
get
could
them
put a
from
few on
Audubon.
the counter at the borough.
So,
With the other stuff might not be a bad idea, especially in the springtime.
Yeah.
Just ask, the manager sets them on the counter, but the informational stuff can't hurt.
mhm,
If somebody's into that, and they'll be able to pick
Right.
that up and read on it.
right.
Okay.
I do have, one other thing. I have a bench for the library.
Okay.
It needs to be refurbished. But I do have a bench. It's one of my projects that I'm working on. It's a cement, pillars on it. The feet and the back are cement,
Okay.
and the bench itself is all wood. I do have a bench for the library, but it needs work. So I have, a couple of ideas rummaging through up here in my brain as to how we would want it to look. I know everybody wants, like a wrought iron or, something to to go with the aesthetics of the library. So that's why I'm looking into using the cement and painting it, pulling one of the colors out of the stone that's in the building and painting it that color so that it matches the stone in the building, and replacing the wood planks that are on the bench now with something else. And then taking a library saying and painting it on the back and sealing it.
Well,
You could always stencil it too.
here's my thoughts. I think, I was able to get, and probably still could get, grant money to get an appropriate bench. But I stopped that movement because I was told to stop that movement forward. So,
I was told by Mr. Subi we can have a bench at the